Hello and greetings, everyone. My name is Sean Bogle, and I wanted to take a moment to provide you with a virtual introduction and provide a little bit of background about myself. As I said, my name is Sean, and I'm happy to serve as an adjunct faculty member in the APUS Student Affairs and Higher Education program. I've been with APUS for almost 2 years now, where I was brought on board, and I've enjoyed the opportunity to engage with students, of course, all around the world and teach multiple courses such as Foundations of Higher Education and multiple courses. So I really enjoy my work. Just a little bit about me and my personal background. I was born in Washington, D.C. Both of my parents were in the U.S. Army. My father was a MP and he retired from the military and became a civilian employee for the Army, working for OSHA, the Office of Safety, Health, and Occupation. And I got an opportunity to travel across the world through my father's work. So I grew up in Germany, Kentucky, Illinois, Georgia, Virginia, you name it, and have a lot of roots in various places across the South, with my father's family being from Nashville, my mother's family being from Charlotte. And then I attended high school right outside of Atlanta. So to an extent, the South feels like home. After graduating high school in the South, I went back to DC where I earned my bachelor's degree from Howard University. And after 4 years at Howard, I moved to Miami, Florida to begin teaching. I taught as a seventh grade language arts teacher for Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And also in that experience, worked to earn my master's degree at Barry University in educational leadership. As I was teaching full time, I would attend evening and weekend courses to complete my master's. My original plan in education was to work in a secondary environment as an administrator in a K through 12 school setting. And after finishing my degree and wanting to do something and being eager to move forward into administration, I was made aware of the opportunity to work in higher education. One of my mentors was an administrator at Howard University, and I was an RA at Howard. And as a resident assistant, my hall director, who followed up and became my mentor, suggested that I take on student affairs in higher education as a career. So after finishing my master's and after teaching in the secondary environment, I moved over to University of Louisville as my first job in student affairs as a residence life coordinator. I did that for a few years and then had the opportunity to work as an area director supervising graduate students. And after a year of that, I really felt like, for me personally, professionally, I wanted to work and pursue my doctorate degree while also advancing in higher education as a student affairs professional. So I took a role as a coordinator of student conduct and community standards at Plymouth State University. And shortly thereafter, I started my EDD, my doctorate of education at Plymouth State. And even though professionally I was only at Plymouth State for a couple of years, the doctorate program allowed some flexibility, a hybrid model where we met for a few weeks each summer for 4 years, and then you worked independently through coursework and eventually the dissertation for the rest of your program experience. So after a few years working at Plymouth State, I took a role as a director of student conduct and community standards at Dean College, which was my first time working at a small private liberal arts college. Loved that campus experience of a small, tight knit community right there in the Boston area, having worked previously at three state institutions. But I had the opportunity to welcome my daughter, who was then just a newborn, in 2014, and really wanted to challenge myself. Maybe it was just some new parent energy and really feeling like I wanted to just create new opportunities for my then young family. So I applied for a role at Stanford University in California as an assistant dean, as a residence dean was the specific title, working with undergraduate students primarily for non-clinical support, providing crisis management support to the university, along with six other colleagues. So moved all the way across the country from Massachusetts to California, where I served in that role. Really enjoyed it. And then, you just never know what opportunities will come as you network. So on Stanford's campus, within that student affairs division, I was approached about the opportunity to work back in student conduct, them knowing my career background. And I elevated to an assistant dean in the community standards office at Stanford. Had the opportunity to do some supervising of other assistant deans in that role, and really enjoyed my time there. And at this point, I should mention that I'm still completing my dissertation at Plymouth State, doing my dissertation research independently at that point, and really started to think about some roles in a dean of students role, in a deanship, and had the opportunity to go to Foothill College in the Bay Area as well, and serve in my first dean of students role as the dean of student affairs and activities at Foothill Community College. Truly love that experience. I mentioned that I have family on the Eastern Seaboard, and at that particular time, I wanted to get closer to family and raise my daughter closer to family. So we moved back to the East Coast, where I took on a role as Dean of Students at the Yale School of Environment, which is a graduate school, and had the opportunity to work at Yale for a couple years. Really enjoyed that role. I will say, though, if you follow along with my timeline, having the opportunity to work in student affairs for 12 years has been beneficial. That being said, after finishing my doctorate while at Foothill College, I wanted to start to think about other ways within higher education that I could make an impact in serving. And I was drawn to a role that's my current role for a company that works primarily with higher education on the software side, providing software solutions to higher education administrators. And I specifically work in our research division, where we partner research administrators. You may have heard of faculty who serve as principal investigators, leading research, looking to acquire funding from the government so that they can complete significant research. Perhaps it's pertaining to COVID-19 or another facet of research. So, providing them with the opportunity to use our research tools to complete research, and serving in that community engagement role is what I'm currently doing. I've only been doing that for 6 months, but really enjoyed the role, and feel like it's a good fit for me. And I'm able to lean on my experiences in higher education as an administrator to hopefully be successful in that role. Outside of that, I mentioned I'm a dad, also a pet owner. I have a cat named Bubbles, who's about 11 years old. When I'm not working and parenting and doing all of that, I really enjoy sports. I like to be active. I like to go for jogs. Also, like watching sports. I love this time of year in the fall where there's basketball and football to watch. I love traveling as well. I know that's been a bit restrictive in our current climate, but I look forward to being able to be outdoors as much as possible. So that's a little bit about me. Really excited to be here, and hopefully you got to learn a little bit more about me, and hopefully we get to engage with each other in some courses in the near future. Thank you.